Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and welcome to the third week of No Read November, where, as it has become a tradition, we are doing a Hollywood adaptation of an anime. So, this week we watched the 2008 cult classic Speed Racer.
By the Wachowskis?
Yeah, by the Wachowskis. Which, quite the thing.
I know.
Watched, I think experienced is the better way of putting it, because,
They made The Matrix, and then presumably other movies.
Oh.
Which includes this one.
That explains so much, actually.
it really does.
I know, right?
It explains, spoilers for about the midway point of the movie, but it explains the ninja kung fu fight.
I'm just saying I'm not up to speed as director. I pay attention more so to actors than directors.
You're not up to Speed Racer with the...
Yeah, they're famous for making The Matrix, and that's about it. They've made several other movies that have tried to be The Matrix.
Funnily enough, this also tried to be The Matrix at points, so...
It tried to be a lot of things all at once, which we're probably going to get into.
Right now!
Yeah, I guess.
Real quick, what's everybody's experience with Speed Racer? For me, it's just if I happened to be awake early enough for Boomerang to be on Cartoon Network, if you remember what that is, I would catch the occasional episode. But that's about it for me. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, so Speed Racer was my little brother's favorite video store rental pick, so that same, 4 episodes on a single VHS tape played continuously, where they use the flying bird once.
Which is then we get in this movie.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it.
They didn't use the bird at all, that's right!
How about you, Jay?
So I have been in a different relationship with this. So Speed Racer, I never watched the anime. This was actually one of the suggestions when my dad found out that I liked anime. He recommended Speed Racer. I guess it was one of his bids to connect, and never, really got around to, reading the source material or anything, but it was always one of those held up to being one of those classic anime. So that is about the extent of my exposure.
And you, Jay.
I also have a bit of story time, except in the opposite direction. My mom absolutely freaking adored Speed Racer and had watched the original show to the point of memorization when she was a kid. Apparently, when she had gotten chickenpox, she got to stay home from school, and there was a Speed Racer marathon, and she watched it until she
didn't have chickenpox anymore.
Yeah, and I own the DVD for this that we got when it came out, but I don't think my mom or I ever got around to watching this 2-hour movie.
Oh, and it really punches you in the face with the opening, because
it honestly feels like an acid trip. It is nothing but wipes of different characters reacting not in chronological order to things that may or may not be happening on screen.
Because Speed is currently in the final qualify. Also, I guess we should specify, this isn't normal racing like in the cartoon. This is weird Hot Wheels stunt track in some distance in the future, I guess, but also it's 1960s, and the set designer was the same set designer for Roly Poly Oly.
I feel like just remembering back to that time, weren't the Hot Wheels movies really still big?
They might have been.
I feel like that might have been why.
Those cheap made for VHS movies.
This does kind of feel like a Hollywood-sized one of those, doesn't it?
Yeah, because they're going over huge turns that require wild drifts, and they've got loop-de-loops and
They've got
jumps and
loop-de-loops
shit.
and jumps.
I just remember this being unusually popular even for people who weren't or who didn't know that it was an anime. This was just really popular with those action fans as well. Weird point in the collective consciousness.
As overstimulating as the movie was, the action scenes were good. I was entertained. I just wasn't 100% sure what was going on most of the time.
I was entertained up until the first race where Speed is doing 360 tricks off the edge of the track, and apparently that's causing him to break the track time record.
set by his older brother, the legendary Rex Racer.
But he's literally just going off a corner to, like, do a flip for no reason. I'm like, that seems like that doesn't...
That seems like that would slow you down.
It's stylistic.
Yeah.
It seems like if he just stopped f***ing around, he could have beat the record, which maybe he was doing that on purpose, but that defeats the...
Maybe. Well, some of it I think he was trying to do on purpose. You know, he had his own style before his brother disappeared.
Yeah.
And, like, there was, like, a whole thing about how he, like, intentionally... Because, in this first race, and it's, like... Most of what we get in this first race is, like, this is the breakneck editing that you're going to be dealing with for the majority of the movie, is most of what it accomplishes.
It is in medias res, and it is
also flashback.
It is also flashback exposition, because it is Speed doing the race, and then it wipe cuts one of the commentators across their face, across the screen, to the relevant flashback, because the commentators are telling the entire life story of Speed's older, dead, cool brother.
And to quote Jacob about 15 minutes into the movie, man, they do a bunch of really interesting and really well done transitions. I'm like...
And then 5 minutes later...
No. See, it was about 3 minutes into the movie when I said that, and you immediately said, I wonder how long that's going to last, and about 2 minutes later, that was when, yeah, Matt, you're right, this has gotten really fucking annoying.
That is the only transition they use, is the, like, wipe. Superimposed person's face talking, wiping across the screen to switch scenes
to whatever relevant background information they're talking about.
I don't know. I feel like at some points it definitely was effective.
There were some points where it was effective, and then it was used until the point where I wanted to punch the TV screen.
I feel like I legitimately got motion sick during one of the, like, panning around 360 of the room, but then they decide to speed that up by doing the wipe on the two characters who are in the same room, like, switching to each other.
They're having a face-to-face conversation, but it is panorama wiping and 360 spinning, and it's causing these two guys to break the 180 line so that they're constantly facing in different directions.
And at one point there was one character who was on both sides of the screen because he was wiping from himself to another angle of himself.
Yeah, so it's sad to say, I think we've done a better job of the movie than talking about that race. Because that's intercut with, basically we get Speed's backstory, like Spedran, but for Speed, probably completely regular pace, because the characterization for Speed in this seems to be a kid with terrible ADHD.
Wildly intense ADHD.
And can only think about racing. There was one really funny moment where instead of doing his SATs, he marked in the bubbles, "Go Rex, go," which was really funny.
I don't know how I felt about that, because similarly, it's just like, this kid has ADHD, but we're set in the 60s, so we're just going to think that it's cute.
That he's quirky, yeah.
He's just a young boy. He's got a lot of energy.
Also, I should clarify, this movie is definitely not set in the 60s, because in the far future...
It's in the far future, but it's that style.
It's like got that vibe.
Very Jetsons, actually.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I was hoping that whoever directed this would direct a live-action... Well, it would have to be live-action Jetsons, right?
I don't even know what they do with that, but it'd be... if the Wachowskis did a
Jetsons... The Wachowskis do a Jetsons movie! Make it happen!
We learned throughout the course of this race that Speed's older brother Rex was the coolest guy ever. He set all sorts of records. Speed looked up to him very much. And then
Speed would often get him to take him to the track to do dangerous, stupid things.
Yeah, there's a very awkward scene where Rex is telling Speed how to drive while Speed's in his lap, and he's describing how you've got to listen to a car while you drive her, make her feel good. Yeah. And I'm like, this is a very sexually charged...
Oh, Grease Lightner!
She'll tell you what she needs, Speed.
Yeah.
You gotta give her what it likes, and she'll give you what you need. And like, this is a really weird scene.
It's awkwardly framed is the problem.
It's the callback they do at the very end for how they get out of a jam, but like, I don't know. I don't...
Yeah.
It could have been implemented better.
And
This feels like someone did the step-by-step on how to make like a good movie, and then was just like, that's only an hour and 15 minutes of material. What if we just stuff it full of confusing crap?
Yeah, that's this movie. I don't know if you could do it any other way. I think it would have been boring if they just, the way that makes logical sense. But yeah, the big thing at the end of this race is, we do in one of the flashbacks get a child being punched, so that was cool.
Yeah,
Jake was very excited for that child to be punched.
because we desperately need. You know, Speed's girlfriend from the cartoon, they gave her
more of a personality than she had.
I guess for 2008, an amount of female personality, because
she's a tough girl who
someone was insulting Speed, so she punched
him.
the other girl, and it was funny, and I enjoyed it.
Yep, she's very hyped about that.
I will say, as much as she's a very, very thin character, say what you will about that, for what the space was allotted to her in the movie, she was used well.
You mean literally thin?
I mean,
She was
she
very
is,
skinny.
I mean character-wise.
she is also very skinny, especially with.
The actress is also just thin.
Well, no, I
like what?
Look, no one else is going to say it, so I'll say it. Compare him to Speed's mom.
Speed's mom, who is Susan Sarandon, who is known for having certain assets that you gentlemen were not aware of, but yes.
We became very aware
over
of
the
them.
course of this movie.
Speed's mom has got it going on.
There's a really funny scene where they do the like panning to each person talking while she's talking with Speed in his room, and when they cut to Speed, in frame is just the edge of her breast. They could not be contained in her own scene.
They broke frame into Speed's close-up.
I say, Speed's very close with his mom. Okay.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's also he's very close with his dad, and apparently Trixie is his live-in girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what it seems
she's
like.
just kind of
the
always
mechanic
there.
seems to live with them too. Yeah, the important bit, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised I didn't call back to this. Apparently, we've discovered that this languished in development hell for a while, so I have a feeling that this is something from a cut previous draft. But there's a point where Speed is about to break Rex's record, and he intentionally, because it's like he was so far ahead of everyone else. Like everyone else was racing for second, and he's about to break the record, and he pulls back at the last minute so that he doesn't break the record.
Mm-hmm. Because in all these chaotic flashbacks, it's brought up that Rex is dead. He's
definitely dead.
He participated in the Casa Cristo 5000, a cross-country race, and
Remember, this race is a death trap. It's very, very dangerous.
During the race up the mountains, he crashed in a fiery explosion and died. After a series of, I guess, scandals where he drove dangerously? I don't know.
Drove dangerously. Okay, so I love this. They have an excuse for why the races aren't normally dangerous and that there are these little eject pods. And I did note that in most cases, you could see a little spear pop out of the explosions that the cars were in. There were also several where there definitely was no ejection, and also even if there was, they still would be dead. In the not death trap race.
I feel like with how little attention is paid to those little eject pods too, that feels like a later addition, probably when they've already done a bunch of the animation.
Yeah, they added those in after the fact.
Yeah.
They do give them a name, which I don't remember what it was because I don't care. They're eject pods.
I think they were just ejector pods.
No, it was like they were the safety something. It was alliterative, but it doesn't matter because they're literally there just so it's like, oh no, they're totally not murdering all of these people that they're definitely murdering.
But not wanting to defeat his brother's record and further eclipse his memory or something, Speed slows down, still wins the race, and the crowd goes wild. And the next morning, the family phone line is being blown up with sponsors trying to sign him to their racing team, which the worst character in the movie continues to run interference on.
Speed's younger brother, who I can't remember the name of. Spidell?
Spraddle.
Oh.
He's a sprotling young man.
Okay.
He's something.
So
He's also their manager.
yeah.
Aspiring manager.
This movie seems to think that Sprottle was the main character of the cartoon, because Sprottle will speak over Speed in most of the scenes.
It's like, hold on, I have this.
And the monkey was there.
The monkey was,
Chim Chim is
was
there.
Chim Chim.
Yeah, you could tell this was a 2008 movie, because they would not let a chimpanzee be on set for as much as he was in this.
I'm sure he was a good boy. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything.
Spriddle. That can't be right, IMDb. Why is it
Spriddle?
Why is it spelled like that? Because John Goodman pronounces it Sprottle.
I don't know. He's not. As much as the movie tries to pretend otherwise, he's not an important character. You could remove him, and it
Don't
would.
tell him that.
So
I think he thinks he's very important.
here's the other thing about this movie. Aside from Speed and maybe Trixie, everyone else in this movie is clearly just accepting a paycheck. Like,
Yep.
John Goodman tries a few times as Pops, but
there are certain scenes where he does well, but there are other scenes where he does not care.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, like, that's honestly fine. This movie doesn't need powerhouse acting, in all honesty. If you tried to take this any more seriously, it would probably feel out of place.
Yeah. And as the family is having their victory morning breakfast,
This scene!
we get one of my favorite gags. There is a great shaking that rattles the house in a loud sound, and then a knock at the door, and a large man in a suit is standing there in front of a plane, and the plane's engines are still going.
A plane, whatever the hell that
aerial
thing is.
device.
An aerial vehicle of some persuasion.
UAV.
An unidentified flying object, let's be honest.
And he tries to introduce himself at the door, but the engines are too loud and he can't be heard. I don't know why, but that gag got me. But
He invites himself in for pancakes.
is that pancakes I smell? I simply adore pancakes. When I was a better wee boy in Germany, because I'm German, despite my very English accent and everything else I do.
We said Pancaken von Liebsten or something like that. Pancakes are love.
Which, considering it doesn't take this long, this character's the main villain, so he's lying.
Yes.
Which, good. This didn't feel genuine. He just hops in.
Lies about pancakes. Can't trust people who lie about breakfast food.
He tries to buy Mrs. Racer's pancake recipe.
He succeeds in buying the pancake recipe. She genuinely accepts that money. She's like, oh, that's just pancakes. Sure, I'll sell you the recipe. I've got a lovely chain of motels that need a bed and breakfast.
Yes. E.P. Arnold Royalton, head of Royalton Industries. And he wants to offer Speed a position as one of their top racers. So they go to the city. Ostensibly, this is set on Earth, so this is like New York or something, but I don't know.
This is the city.
We know it's set on Earth because in Royalton's office there is a huge map. A huge map with lights, presumably showing every Royalton Industries office, 3 of which are in Antarctica? Why do you have 3 offices in Antarctica?
And several of them are in the Pacific Ocean, where there are no islands.
That you know of.
That you know of.
You know what? In the Speed Racer universe, there could be secret islands that have dinosaurs on them
or
something.
Atlantis.
Could be that.
Royalton's secret anarcho-capitalist Pacific Hemisphere artificial islands.
There legitimately might be a Speed Racer episode where they go to Atlantis. That seems on brand.
But the kangaroo posture ones.
Royalton continues the absurdism of this world by taking them on a theme park dark ride machine throughout his industry where so many people that look so identical that they have to be computer generated.
Oh no, they were all CG. Like their scooters and the people on them were definitely all just a CG model.
They're segueing around all over the place.
CG model, or they were 2 people filmed on a green screen and they just copy and pasted it.
Yeah. It might have.
Because again, we say this is in like a far future city. This is on a green screen with Cat in the Hat level CGI.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Except now that I'm realizing Cat in the Hat had actual sets built, so...
Yeah. This is more Cat in the Hat than Cat in the Hat somehow.
Spy Kids. That's what this is.
We even made a comparison to Spy Kids while we were watching it.
Yeah, this looks like Spy Kids.
Which also came out shortly before?
Spy Kids 3D, I think, came after this, but this is the one that looks most like Spy Kids. Shark Boy and Lava Girl, also a movie that's primarily CG.
Yeah, it looks the same as those movies.
It's very of its time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of CGI that I'm sure looked impressive at the time, that looked not great.
He takes them throughout the entire facility, shows them all the cool stuff and all the wacky cartoon stuff where they're putting like
the wacky racers tech.
The wacky racers tech. Yeah.
They've got the like magic processing chip that generates super speed energy. There's only 2 factories that can make that in the world. This one and the one owned by Globocorp or something. This section is terrible because it has Royalton just spouting off proper nouns that
never matter.
90% of them are never mentioned again, and the ones that are mentioned again, you forgot about because you got bombarded by like 70 proper nouns.
Yep.
Also, throughout this entire time,
Speed has not spoken a word for, I think, 15 minutes.
No, and that's the entire point, is like all of Speed's family is talking for him, despite the fact John Goodman said, I'm not going to be in this. I don't like your fancy, smancy corporate talk, but we're an independent company, but Speed's an adult. He can do whatever he wants. Speed also mentions, I graduated high school. And I'm like, okay, good, Speed's an adult, because that was unclear in the cartoon.
Yeah. When he and Trixie go to Make Out Point, he says
Make Out Point.
We called it several different inappropriate things. I don't think it has an actual name.
No, but I think it did have a name as the worst.
I think Inspiration Point it was called, and then there was a fellatio hand sign
by the child, which is weird.
Apparently, Sprottle knows that they go to Inspiration Point for some inspiration.
I thought he was doing a cootie shot motion, but
he did a cootie shot, but then he was like, maybe he was doing like a gag me motion.
Well, they were gagging on something.
Okay. Well, no, they weren't. Because that's the problem. Is Speed is only... We cut ahead, too, because this is after...
After the cut. Like, long story short, it's a big corporate pitch.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're a small independent company. We don't want your big corporate shit, but Speed, it's up to you. You're the racer.
Well, this is a lot to go on. I look good in the suit you just gave me. How about you give me a night to decide? No, I want you to make the decision now. Well, then I'd probably say no. Wait. Come back tomorrow. Yes.
Think about it.
Keep the suit. It looks so good on you, boy. And I'm just like, that's a tailor-made suit for him. If he returned it to you, it'd be worth it. Like,
yeah.
You're not.
I will say it was kind of a good book because I mean, like, not for nothing.
Royalton's an okay villain.
At this point, we're kind of still feeling out the movie, and it's like, how much of this is him being not genuine? How much of this is just the cheesy acting that is being done in this movie? Because honestly, nobody felt super genuine at this point. Like there was a level of I liked the quick turn he does because before even Speed says, well, if I had to give an answer now, like he doesn't actually commit to anything before Royalton's like, why don't you just take your time?
He's obviously leaning towards no, but
he's cutting him off, so he's just like, okay.
So he doesn't even verbalize, I would say now.
I want the answer I want, so I'm going to force you into a situation that gives you the most leeway in my... So he goes home. His family's all like, I don't know how I feel about that. That's cool. I'm going to take my girl to Make Out Point. And it's like a very romantic... Like, literally, this Make Out Point is a single car length of space overlooking the city, surrounded by blooming flowers.
by like 3-story high rose bushes.
And in this scene, Trixie is wearing like a very low-cut shirt, but is framed on panel that you only see the straps.
Yeah.
And she's like, Speed, don't you want to pay attention to these? And I think she says this, but then points at her body, and Speed notably looks down, then looks back up. I want to talk more about racing. Speed!
You want me to pay more attention? Well, how about when I win the Grand Prix? Under all those flashing bulbs, I'd take you in my arms and kiss you. Oh, I'd like that a lot. Let's kiss right now. And then Sprottle gets in the way because he was
in the trunk
the entire
listening
time.
and went, ew!
What did he say that he was like, I thought we were gonna do...
I thought we were going to get ice cream or something like that.
Yeah.
No, he's like, I'm taking you back home right now. Well, can we stop for ice cream at least? And
Slam.
And we all hate.
we all hate Sproggle and Chim Chim, honestly.
He deserves to be stuck in the trunk.
Yes.
Close the lid and
Just
go back
close
to
the lid
it. Like,
and-
no, you signed up for this.
Yeah. So anyway, the next day comes around. I think there's a scene in between here where he talks with his dad or has a memory of when he watched.
Right. It was
No, I think I think he flashes back to this in the conversation
in
with Roy.
Royalton.
Oh, right.
Because he's going to give his answer to Royalton and say no, and he.
It's so fucking clear he's gonna say no too, because he walks in. He's in like a regular polo. He's got the brown paper bag that's made to look as crappy as possible.
Yeah. And he's like, well, you see, when my brother died, we were all really depressed. And then one night I couldn't sleep. I got up and my pops was watching old videos of races. And we watched the 43 Prix. And we sat there watching it together. And we got so excited. We were jumping up and cheering. It was a great race. And that reignited the love of racing in us. And, well, it got us our heart back. And we don't want to sell it out to your corporate interest. At which point Royalton goes, you stupid fucking plebeian. Don't you know every Grand Prix ever has been rigged? Because winning gets your stock price up so that you can then be in a merger and get a gajillion dollars. It's all about the money, Speed. It's all business.
You would know this, Speed. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna take my deal. Yeah, how do you feel about that? And then I'm gonna explain to you more about why that's a bad deal. Isn't this a really tense, emotional scene we've got going? Oh, nope, we're gonna slide cut to the fact that Chim Chim and Spraddle were here, and they are getting in wacky antics where they're literally, he's got Chim Chim on his shoulders, and they're in a big trench coat, and they got caught by the security guard, and it's like, oh, you two are in trouble, and then it cuts back.
It amounts to nothing.
This entire time, because they stowed away on they love stowing away on shit. They stowed away on the UFO that Royalton used to bring them there.
To eat the candy, because the UFO has a candy drawer.
It was point, and
we have to have something. We have to have something
having,
wacky for the kids.
The closest thing it comes to having a point is that there's a apparently cheating device that the two of them see, but doesn't amount to anything because they're not anywhere where they could have done anything about it. They just note that was foreshadowed.
They sit in the stands going like, that's the cheating device! And they say that when everyone else knows, so it's like...
Yeah.
It accomplished less than nothing.
Yeah, so basically, they literally, in like the most jagged transition in this entire thing, stop the big emotional thing, wacky hijinks, come back to the big emotional thing, but it's lost all the momentum.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's put in there specifically to make the movie not too serious for kids, I guess.
Yeah,
and they repeat this like 3 times.
It honestly wasn't a bad scene. It was kind of intense until they undercut it.
Shoved a worthless scene in the middle.
Yep.
But yeah, and then he's just like, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen.
And then
there's one more qualifying race before the Grand Prix. If you don't take my deal, this is what's going to happen, Speed. You're going to go to Fiji, and I'm going to make sure that you lose. Wipe transition to the Fiji race where Speed is getting harried by a bunch of paid-for Royalton racers, I guess. More people die.
A lot of people die. This is the highest body count we see in the movie.
One car is knocked off the track into lava.
Another car is knocked into a cliff, and there was definitely no ejection pod because the whole thing just explodes.
You're not going to win. You're not even going to place. And then it's Speed getting, like, knocked in the air and rolling out and crashing. And then, once your car is destroyed, you're never going to race in anything again. And it's Speed getting, like...
There's going to be a sham lawsuit. Which I don't know if that actually happened or not.
It did. They cut to them being sad coming home from Fiji. And you know they were in Fiji because they're all wearing Hawaiian shirts and leis.
Yep.
And they're like, it's sad, it's raining outside, and they're like back in the house with all their luggage, and they hear a knock at the door going like, here, you've infringed on some Royalton patents. And like, this can't possibly be true. have fun proving that in court over the next 2 years.
Yep. And it's so weird because it's Royalton spouting his threats while flash forwarding to the threats happening in action. It feels like it's trying to be illustrative of what's going to happen and Speed's going to change his mind or something. But no.
Or that what I was expecting is it was going to be an action scene that was really just Royalton's explanation and then they'd actually do the Fiji race later. But, like, no, apparently it all happened, but it's not ultra clear.
It's so confusing because if they'd just done a voiceover over it happening, that would have made more sense as, like, it's moving on. The problem is they show that, then they cut back to them in the office and him returning the thing is going like, I'm not taking your deal. And then he leaves and you're like, oh, so all of that, what actually happened, because it does just then time cut.
It does continue after the point where that stuff did in fact happen. It's weirdly edited.
I know what you're thinking, audience. Man, they must be at least 75% through the movie.
Nope. It was at this point where Matt paused the stream and saw that we were barely at an hour and went, oh god.
No, we weren't barely at an hour. We were at 30 freaking minutes.
I also paused again after the next race. What's the thing?
Well, the thing is, I also was curious about it. I'm like, they gotta do the Grand Prix. They're not sequel baiting, right?
Yeah, because
now we forgot to mention Racer X and the Mafia truck.
Racer X plotline.
Racer X and the Mafia truck kind of happens right here.
Oh, so. Right. I forgot. Because that just sort of happens, but
it is honestly to explain any more than to say it's the Racer X and the Mafia truck scene. You have all the information that's relevant, other than the fact that there's a character
the foreshadowing
that gets rescued.
The foreshadowing that it sets up is what's his name? The guy that's part of the Japanese car company, Togokan. That's his name. Togokan. He was apparently trying to take on the Mafia, but got captured and was about to be fed to piranhas or something when Racer X showed up and attacked the truck and saved him.
Mm-hmm.
And Racer X was all like, are you gonna join my side in the fight for justice? I don't give a shit about justice, I just want to win. Then get out of my car. Okay, I guess I'm walking home then. But Togokan's entire plot line is that he's got files that will prove beyond shadow of a doubt that the major corporations have been fixing these races, and that's going to put away Royalton and his cronies for the rest of time or whatever. But the only way he'll hand over these files to the investigative bureau is if he wins the cross-country 5,000.
Because it will drive up the stock prices of his company to prevent a merger.
Yeah, to prevent a merger with Royalton.
The other thing that's kind of important, and this is, I only bring this up because I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't follow through on this. With how stuffed this movie is, they could have done something with this. There's a point around the time of the Fiji thing, and it's weirdly cut, so I don't know if this is right before or right after the Fiji race, but Speed talks to the guy from the race that reinvigorated him and his dad, asking, is it true that the race was fixed? And the only thing that the guy says is, everyone always thought that me and the other guy hated each other, and that's all he says. And what I was expecting, what I thought would have been cool, is the idea that he was supposed to win, but the two of them, because they were friends, raced for real, and if the other guy had won... But, that never comes up again. It's basically just, it was all fixed.
So either that was a dropped plot line, or...
It feels like it was a dropped plot line.
Again, this movie is 3 movies worth of plot, so you're never allowed to breathe.
Yeah.
Yep. Speed has been recruited by Togokan and Racer X...
To find the Avatar.
To win the cross-country relay race.
But John Goodman's like, you're not winning that race.
Because that's where Rex died. I'm not losing another son to that race.
That race in particular is a death trap.
It's extremely dangerous, even though I swear to you the body count was higher in Fiji.
And which way Trixie goes, well, hey, what if we don't go on that race, but we just go on a ski trip?
She's saying this at Fellatio Point.
There's only a few things that you can call that.
Yep. And so Speed and Trixie sneak away from the racer motor company to go on the cross-country race.
Because they agreed to Racer X's deal to join the
Because they're teams
Tokakon
of
race
three.
team.
Well, no, Racer X is part of like Interpol or something. Like it's
Yeah.
the race car police who are very ineffectual unless they can win races, which is very speeder. The entire
very
Racer X plotline is the closest to the cartoon. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's fun. I mean,
It's very fun.
I love how in the movie Speed seems to be 100% sure Racer X is Rex basically the entire time.
I do
And
like,
yeah.
okay,
They
even
have completely different builds, though.
Well,
Exactly.
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Though I honestly, like, okay, hopefully you've seen the movie, so me spoiling this is not that big of a deal.
I don't think that's a requirement of our No Read Novembers. I think we actively tell people not to watch the movie.
That's true. Honestly, watching clips of this movie is probably better than watching the whole movie all the way through. But there's a double fake out with Racer X. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that because
I really hated it. It was stupid.
I'm with you.
I did. So all is right with the universe that I disagree with Matt. But yeah, because like it is super obvious that it's his brother because he's saying and doing everything that Rex would do, but then it's like, no, it's the wrong face. But like the emotionally satisfying movie thing to do is have Racer X be the brother, so I don't mind it. They went back on it is basically what ends up happening. It means that they get to let the character be genre savvy, but also have their cake and eat it too.
It is kind of weird that the only time the movie confirms that is in that weird scene at the end
The
of the
very
party.
end coda.
Almost like you could have added that.
Added that after the fact, yeah, like maybe test audiences didn't like Rex actually properly being dead. I'd buy that.
So anyway, they're going to the death race in an unnamed, well, it's a named but fake Middle Eastern country.
Yeah.
That apparently also has the mountains of Nepal in it.
The queen
Well,
of something is the one who sets off the gun.
It's a race across six countries and 2 continents, or some bullshit that they say.
It's a speed racer moment.
It's a Speed Racer moment. So Speed and Racer X and Tokakon all are racing. They get
Also, the car Interpol gave them the Mach 5. He stole the Mach 5 because the Mach 6, which is what Speed Racer has been driving in the like Hot Wheels tracks race.
Yeah.
Because the Mach 5 was his brother's car.
It was his brother's regular on-street car.
So he's got that to drive in the thing because his Mach 6 has been destroyed. The Mach 5 is then given weird gadgets by Interpol, which are just the gadgets from the cartoon.
Yes.
Everyone already has the jump jacks, but other than that, apparently anything else is against the rules, I think.
The vaguely defined rules.
Yep. So they list...
There are so many cases where people are like, he's cheating! It's like, okay, I'd like to know what the rules are, but cool. I guess they're cheating.
The rules are vibe-based.
The obvious villain...
Does it feel like fair play? Then it's not cheating.
No. Is that character a villain? Yes, then what they're doing is cheating. Is that character not a villain?
That's actually
no,
it.
Then that's totally allowed.
That's actually it. But they're doing the race. They're going through the desert. We have more of those speeding wipes where the race-fixing mafia goes around bribing the various villains,
Bribing a bunch of Saturday morning cartoon characters. This also feels very Speed Racer.
Yeah. They give a bunch of diamonds to one guy. They give some money to some other guys. They give furs to the Vikings.
Yeah. Well, they give the amount of money that's convenient for their theme.
Yeah.
But, like, it doesn't matter. All of these people are wiped out in, like, little bits.
Yeah.
Little bits.
It's car fight scenes.
It's a car action scene.
Whoa! Speed and Racer X, they work so well together. It's like they've been doing it all their lives.
Yeah, and the Tokakon racer is actually getting a little jealous that he has to keep getting saved by these 2 racers. It's like, and you get a vibe of like, ooh, is he? What's going on there? Also, his sister's hot.
He's got a hot sister.
Which is they make that evident And
they make it evident eventually that they're siblings. That was not clear at first,
When
and
they're-
we all got
when they're-
really concerned.
when they're first on screen together, they're like having dinner, and it's kind of romantic.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and then she says, "Yes, my brother, you will win the race." And we all went, "Oh,
Oh,
crap!"
no.
Yeah, they're just siblings having dinner. You made it weird.
But we made it weird.
regardless, we're like, oh man, this is a really cool race scene. And it was. But I know what you're thinking. It's weird that the movie allowed you to just watch a really cool thing uninterrupted. It didn't. Because in the background, who's watching this race on TV but Sprottle and Chim Chim?
Except what?
Oh,
Pops
God,
Pops doesn't like this race, so we can't. We have to hide it from him.
We have to go outside and get sun.
Because he called them too pale. So they're out there tanning while Pops is mowing the lawn.
With a toy, with a literal toy for 4-year-olds.
Yep. And then it's just like, well, I'm really tired from... I think I'm going to go out and get us some sweet tea from the store. You boys want to come with? Oh, no, we'll just not watch TV. And then he doesn't actually go do the thing he was going to do. He's like, you boys were watching TV. Yeah, we're not in trouble. Look what's on the TV. Is that Speed?
Yeah, because they go back into... that whole scene happens. And remember, they are on a different continent right now. The first leg of the race ends. They didn't come in first on that leg. Snake Oiler and his team beat them.
Because that's who the Mafia wants to win.
Yeah, so Tokukon's really pissed off. It's like, how did we not win? If we drive like that tomorrow like we did today, we're gonna lose. It's like, yeah, because we were too busy saving your ass. Otherwise whatever, man. But they all go to bed until Speed gets a knock at his door. It's like, do you know these people? He looks outside, there's the entire Racer clan. Hi, guys.
Speed, I thought you were going on a romantic ski trip with your girlfriend. Trixie's not my girlfriend. That's weird, that's not been established. I also do like how clearly they were splitting the bedroom together.
Yeah.
But when the family comes over, Mom has to take Trixie and they get their own room, and Dad sleeps with the... I'm not having boys and girls cohabitating, even though they're my adult son and my adult adopted daughter. Because I don't know where Trixie's parents are.
What kind of dynamic were they going for if she's just like... I think she also helps with, like, mechanical work, was that it?
Yeah.
That is not implied in any way.
It's not
until the final car building scene.
She, like, contributes to the family business in some way. That's why she's allowed to stay with them.
She's Speed's live-in girlfriend. I think
but
that's
not
the
his girlfriend. She's his girlfriend.
Yeah.
The friend who happens to be a girl.
Who he takes to make out point to not kiss. It seems like Trixie has a really different idea of what this relationship is. So we're basically engaged to be married, right? That's why I'm living with your family? I thought you were just some chick who liked driving cars with me. Oh, no.
100%. He, like, partially believed that.
I'm only going to kiss you when I win the greatest race, because it'll make me look cool. Speed.
I said what I said.
So now it's like, all right, the Racer clan has showed up. Now we're going to go to the next race, right? Wrong, idiot. Ninja fight.
They're attacked by ninjas in their sleep, and the ninjas are hyper competent when they're killing
Tokukon.
Because they, like, don't even go in his room and they drip poison into his mouth. And then Racer X, they do a blowgun from afar, only that was a pillow, and Racer X was standing in the shadows because Racer X is Batman in this universe.
Yes.
He wraps a blanket around his face.
Around his mouth, which isn't where his mask goes, so it's like,
whatever. He has a cool fight with the ninja and kicks his ass.
It's a really good fight scene. It reminds you that this was made by the Wachowskis.
That's a good serious fight scene. And then a ninja goes to try and stab Speed with a syringe.
Yeah, and I guess they use their worst possible ninja, because he goes right up to the edge of the bed and seems kind of, like, hesitant to, like, double fist the syringe into Speed. And
they got the intern to take care of Speed.
Don't worry. Luckily, hero of the movie, Sprottle, happens to roll out of bed while dreaming of food.
and he wakes up and sees the ninja and, oh no, guys, ninja!
I will say in this scene, the one good Sprottle and Chim Chim thing happens, because I did enjoy when they're it seems like they're gonna get in on the ninja fight, and then it cuts to reality, and they're just kind of holding on to the ninja's legs.
Yeah.
That was the one good joke they were involved
Which is enough for Speed to punch him in the face, and we're all just kind of wondering, I get why Rex is super good at close quarters combat. Why is Speed super good at close quarters combat? That doesn't make any sense.
They just went to the track together and did other things, obviously.
They did CQC training as well as racing.
Of course. That's an important part of racing. You never know when you're going to get attacked by ninjas. Don't you know anything about race car driving, Dad? Ninjas.
If this movie was about race car driving, that might have helped.
Thankfully, while Speed and the two idiots aren't,
they're not quite enough to stop the ninja. I will say, this is so stupid, because this is one of those ones where it's like, this is like 30 different movies all at once. There is a strong element of establishing that Racer X is a better fighter than Speed, that while Speed knows how to fight, he's not as good. Which, that doesn't come up ever again, because there's not another fight. Well, actually, there's one other fight scene in the movie, but
it's a very different fight scene, so...
Yeah.
Actually, everyone's just hyper-competent in that, so except
yeah.
Sparky. Sparky is just beat up every time he's on screen, because...
I know what you're thinking. Who's Sparky? We haven't mentioned him yet. The movie doesn't really either.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does exist.
He's a character in the cartoon, and...
He's the mechanic?
You can't have the kids be the comic relief, because they're the heroes of the story, so he's just some guy who gets hit in the balls in the background, really.
Yep. But we had the tense ninja scene with Tokugan, we had the serious ninja fight scene with Racer X, and now we have the comedy ninja fight scene, where after getting pantsed by Speed, Sprottle, and Chim Chim, who should come in but Pops, 10-time wrestling heavyweight champion, according to the Super Bowl ring on his finger, who then proceeds to absolutely body the ninja like he's Triple H.
I was very confused because, so as I prefaced, I've never actually watched the anime. I never watched pure source material. So I legitimately thought that he was like a retired racer. No, he's a retired wrestler? How did his...
He's both.
I think the wrestling thing is literally just a joke to be like, he's got super strong dad strength. Because it's played as the ninja looks down, sees the wrestling ring, goes, oh no! Also, Pops almost kills his entire family because he spins the ninja around, suplexing him around, and, the throwing stars and the ninja are just,
come out of his belt.
Are thrown into the wall, barely missing multiple family members. And this is when Trixie and Mom come out of their room in their nightgowns, and I'm like, oh my.
So, Ninja's defeated, Tokukan is poisoned, so he's too
weak to race.
He's too drugged up to race. So, how are we going to continue tomorrow? Obviously, Trixie will take his place.
Yeah. And then Trixie is okay at racing.
She's pretty good.
Yeah.
She's good enough to drive,
She's at least on Tokukan's level, which
I think she's slightly lower than his level, because that's why they even bother swapping him out. Because I think the idea is Speed and Racer X are going double duty to guard her.
Yeah.
She's not a bad racer, but these are professional racers is the main difference.
They do a good job of making her be competent and actually positively contribute. It's not it doesn't feel as tokeny as it could have, especially considering the origin of the character.
The only reason why I don't want to say she's a hyper-skilled racer is because she is put immediately into a deadly situation where she's about to get grinded with the wheel of the car, and that causes Speed to go, well, time to start murdering, and kills this guy. Oh no, he stops.
He stops at the last minute.
He stops from putting the spikes on his wheel
to the guy's face.
Yeah.
Which was a hell of a thing.
Yeah. Now it's a well done damseling scene. I'm with overly sarcastic production that damseling, when done right, is good thing, and this was a good example of it.
So they reach the midway point pass, at which point Tokukan is undrugged enough that he can get back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, this was really unclear. What was going...
Well, because, like, okay, so it's like the rate... This is one of those things where it's like it technically does give you all the information you need, but I'm sitting here like, they go to try to take out Tokukan's sister, but it's really Tokukan disguised as his sister, and he ninja beats up the assassin. And I'm like, if he's that fine, why isn't he racing? But the leg had already started, presumably hours before. But it's like, they don't tell you that.
Like, why only paralyze him until after the start of the race? Like, because they were trying to kill him before.
They could have just killed him.
Yeah, like...
I guess technically what we learned
He built up a resistance to lidocaine.
I suppose what we learned later is that it's all an inside job, I think.
No, it's not. It's Toga. It's their company pulling one over.
No, that's true. I don't know.
Yeah. It also could be their company just decided they wanted to be rich.
That's also true.
So
I hate when companies decide that they want to be rich.
So yeah,
bunch of assholes.
They swap out the because he is disguised as his sister. He beats up the Mafia Don. He lands the plane in the camera dead zone that John Goodman apparently
scouted beforehand.
Sometime between the ninja attack and the race starting at dawn.
Scouted this camera dead zone.
There's tons of camera dead zones all through the mountain.
That's why this is a great spectator sport. Yeah.
Yeah, and like also this camera dead zone is just a large white plane that is very clearly a circular green screen stage, and you're like, why did they need to do this? Oh, because right after Racer X goes, I think we should break both his legs and let him crawl home.
Because they kept
Racer X.
That's okay, dude. Because they captured the Don, who should show up but the rest of the Mafia clan. They pulled they turned the tables on them, and now they're all held hostage. And now we're gonna break your legs and make you walk home, Racer X. Not if I do a super cool action scene and beat you up.
But that didn't happen.
Wait, okay.
They were held hostage. But they didn't account for the fact that Spraddle and Chim Chim were in the trunk.
Oh,
Chim Chim threw some shit at them.
They were in the trunk. They were in the trunk of Speed's car, and he was doing all this wacky shit in the race.
So Sam, you clearly haven't seen Speed Racer, because that's exactly what happens in the cartoon. These kids are constantly in danger of dying.
Oh my god.
Also, the fact that Spraddle and Chim Chim like have a slingshot and some monkey turds and throw them at the people does nothing, because the people still have guns held on these people. They just don't know the point of having a hostage is threatening to shoot them. They just think that if you point a gun on someone, they have to freeze, because that's the rules of the game.
I guess.
But, I mean, that it does fit for Speed Racer, the era in which the cartoon was made.
Yeah.
An unnecessary but kind of fine fight scene happens. It's not as good as the ninja fight.
Yeah, the monkey poop distraction lets them break free and do a fight.
It kind of is weird, because we just saw last night they had to struggle to beat one ninja, and now suddenly everyone's hyper competent except Sparky. Sparky gets hit in the balls twice.
Yes.
And that's his contribution to the fight. Chim Chim beats a guy to death.
Chim Chim beats a guy to death with a wrench.
Yep.
That's a thing that happens.
The guy who got his fingers eaten by piranhas. Because, yeah, during the Racer X, during the initial...
There's the whole thing about, like, oh no, my piranha babies are gonna die that never come up again, so why did you bring that up in the first place?
I know, audience, you're very confused. Don't worry, so am I.
We're all confused.
Oh my god, this isn't even the end.
This is the point where I'm like, they're not sequel baiting, right? We have to do the Grand Prix, right?
Well, they do.
Fortunately, most of the plot is done.
They do the rest of the cross-country race. Because of the distraction with the Mafia, Snake Oiler was able to get in the lead again. Snake Oiler uses his snake oil to send Speed off of the edge of the mountain, but thankfully... Speed's tires have crampons in them, so he can drive down the mountain, use the jump jacks to leap over the valley, and then drive up the mountainside of the other side, getting him a huge shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna gold split this.
Yep. And then he also jumped, like, there's, like, the path down the mountain that zigzags, and he just drives off of it at one point.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly fine, and I'm like, well, why not just do that the rest of the mountain? You'll get ahead so far. He's like, no, I'd rather kill this guy.
The shocks on these tires are insane.
Everything on these, all of the car is insane. This is cartoon logic, which is fine.
But with that, Speed wins the cross-country race. Team Tokukan wins. And so now, victory! He'll give over all the evidence to Racer Interpol, and the bad guys will go away, and it's a happy ending, folks. What do you mean there's 45...
The movie legitimately could have ended here.
What do you mean there's 45 minutes left in the movie? Oh no! The Tokukan company never intended to give over the evidence. They were just gonna strong-arm Royalton with their raised stock prices to get a better deal on the merger. Oh no!
Yeah, so essentially their stock price doubles, and the meeting is between Royalton and Tokukan, and it's essentially just, 78, you might as well take the blood from my veins. I will not do this deal. That is the price of our company's shares on the market. Fine, 78 you say? Yes. And then because they didn't stop his family's company merger, he's now no longer beholden to give the police the evidence he promised, for some reason.
Yeah.
These police have no power, which is interesting.
They have no power until the plot says they have power.
Well, I mean, is it also because the implication is that they are also involved in this fixing?
Yeah. One thing that gets mentioned offhand, which I think gets refuted by the movie later, but one thing that's mentioned offhand is Speed is like, or I don't know who says it, but somebody is like, they were, even if they had any evidence, they weren't planning to give it to you. So the implication is they never even had evidence in the first
They were
place.
just scamming to get their stock price doubled before they sold. And then, like the rest of the movie, they're all in nice new suits in the millionaire group.
So,
but the sister
like,
becomes a character for a second and gives Speed the MacGuffin items.
No, that happens after Speed drives angrily on the old track.
Oh, that's right, because we gotta do the double fake out with Racer X.
They get into they're driving. Speed's driving angrily, screaming out his frustration. Racer X shows up. They clash a little bit. They get to the end, and he's just like, man, you drive like my brother, you talk like my brother, just admit it already, you're Rex.
Well, hold on, let me take off my mask. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, sorry, kid. I thought it was Bruce Campbell for a second, but I was wrong. I guess I'm face blind.
He looks like a very young Bruce Campbell, but Bruce Campbell was a lot older by this point, so...
I wonder if there was some problem with the original actor of Racer X, because he does only appear in those flashbacks.
Where he's faced away from the camera. It's stock images of him from earlier in the movie and him facing away.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they just replaced that actor then, because they'd already had that filmed and then made up the
double twist. Yeah, that's possible.
But this movie went through development hell, so a lot of things could have happened.
But he's like, sorry, kid, your brother really is dead. But listen, even if he is dead, his spirit and the spirit of racing lives on in your heart. You don't drive to drive, you drive because you're driven. You've got the soul of a racer inside of you. Who gives a shit if it's all corrupt? It's the thing that you love, so you need to do it with all the purity in your own heart. That gives it honor.
What? Some of what you said seems blatantly contradictory. It's the moral of this movie. Then I'm all for it.
All right.
That's that scene. Yep.
And that's when Tokukan's sister is just like, so winning that cross-country race gets you a ticket to the Grand Prix, which my brother never intended to do because he really just wanted to win this one race and then pull the fast one on you for the money. So here is the Grand Prix ticket. Is he going to seek vengeance for this? No, he was actually relatively chill. It was just one, thing that he did. We're going to be basically friendlies to you from now on.
We're actually on your side. We just also wanted to be millionaires.
Which is also the moral of the movie, I guess.
We screwed you over in the least offensive way that anyone else has done so far, so we're cool, right?
To be fair, the only person screwed over is Racer X's boss, because Speed only did this so he could race.
Yeah, that's true. At the end of the day, Speed gets everything he wants out of this entire arrangement.
So, they build a whole new car, because for some reason the Mach 5 is
we have to get a montage.
So I think the Mach 5 is for those cross-country races. And I only know this because that's what the synopsis on Wikipedia says.
That explains it. So what I thought when we were watching the movie was that because they were on Tokukon's team, that the Mach 5 was technically part of their company and got bought. Because there's an implication that Royal has the Mach 5 based off of an ice sculpture, but that also might have been developed.
They also build a new car.
They build an entirely new car.
But they also have that new car because they've got Tokukon's, proprietary tech was the reason they bought that company.
Yeah.
So that's probably what that's from. And the Mach 5 can only run in those, those cross-country races. It's a car built for that under those specifications. The, Grand Prix is, their NASCAR, so it's much more regulated what cars can have. That's why they all have the jump jacks.
Yeah.
Right.
So he doesn't have any of the powers yet. And I know what you're thinking. Did not use the bird that's a drone.
No, he didn't.
That never comes up.
Yep.
But the Racer Motors team builds an entire new car.
How long did it take them to do those upgrades on the Mach 5? 36 hours.
We'll do it in 32. We'll show those corporate scum what the power of heart can accomplish.
Yep, and it shows them all in, mechanic uniforms working on the car. There's a fun scene where the mom is, kneeled down with a bright pink cup of tea while she's doing some work. And then she goes back to the kitchen to make some sandwiches, because that's the era that the cartoon
2008.
was made. And also the era the cartoon was made in.
Also, it's her skill set.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane that they're all mechanics.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm the one who's capable of making sandwiches, so...
It makes sense. It makes sense that the race car driver himself would have some mechanical knowledge, but
it makes perfect sense.
why are they giving Chim Chim a wrench?
It makes
that
perfect
sounds like
sense.
a bad idea.
Again, Chim Chim is already killed with that, guys. You can't let him have it again.
The wrench has tasted blood.
He's tasted blood.
So they go into the Grand Prix, where they have set up the guy who was Royalton's top racer is going to be there. I forget his name. It's not Dick Dastardly, who I don't think was even a Speed Racer character.
No, that's Wacky Races.
That was Wacky Races, right? The other racing cartoon.
Cannonball something.
It doesn't matter. The Grand Prix introduces a lot of characters and then does nothing
Then
with any
kills
of
them all.
Yeah,
Basically, all of the characters it introduced stop Speed at the start and then are all killed and then not do anything with. Those are the ones that they're most careful about showing the ejection pods for, though.
Yeah. And then the main race is him against the Royalton Racer's new car, and it's got the guy he met when he did the company tour who's their racer, and is just I can't wait for you to work here. Do you see that wall of trophies? That's all that matters. And
I'm vaguely sinister, and was the hint that this is where the movie was obviously going.
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But his whole thing is I'm gonna beat him because I'm the best racer with the best car. And then Royalton's, no, just use the cheating device we already installed in your car.
But I don't want to use the cheating device. Just have it anyway. What are you?
You don't have to use it then. He then proceeds to use it almost immediately the second Speed gets next to him. So it's it felt weird they played up that resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the standard beat for that kind of character in this kind of movie.
So
I think that's supposed to tie into what seems to be aborted plot line of the one fixed race that I mentioned that I wish they had followed up on, because it's he used to be good but isn't now because the thing corrupted him, but it doesn't go into it enough to actually do anything.
Also, those two characters who
we only see one of them.
Who did that fixed race? I thought both of the commentators were those guys.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, because the commentators for this race are old racers, which is from that race. We know one of them is the guy who won. We don't know for sure if the other guy is the other guy, but they appear to be of similar ages and are both retired racers. So
so logically, a car fight scene happens. Is basically what the rest of the movie is.
Yeah,
we get more wacky stuff.
This is where we get Sprottle sitting on the sideline going "That's the secret cheating device we saw in there," and John Goodman's character is just well, we can't do anything about it from the stands. No, we can't. Oh.
So I guess that scene was f***ing pointless.
So what happens after yet more ridiculous, deadly stuff? The racetrack has huge, Vlad the Impaler spikes on it that people get catapulted into.
That reminds me. This is just a random note that I wanted to bring up. At one point during the cross-country death race, someone had a catapult with a beehive in it and catapulted the beehive directly into their own car. I just wanted to note that was a thing that happened.
A deadly bee weapon. Bees.
My God.
But it gets to the point where it's Speed and Cannonball vying for first. Cannonball uses the cheating device.
Which doesn't seem to help him win the race.
Because it's just a grappling hook that grabs onto the undercarriage of a car next
100%.
to
You don't use this for the person you want to win. You have someone else sabotage him with this because it just ties you to that car. Like, I don't understand how this helps you win.
I guess it's supposed to rip out the guts of the other car, but...
I don't know. They do a flip up into the air and show the bottom of their car to the audience, and everyone in the audience is like, they're using a cheating device! And Sprattle's just like, I said that 5 minutes ago! But now we have evidence. Ah.
So, in doing that, because Speed used his jump jacks for it.
Speed does that, Speed does that on purpose. To, catch them.
That somehow disconnects them and makes Cannonball crash and burn.
Unfortunately,
and he literally goes down a drain.
Unfortunately, it also made Speed crash, and, like,
his car shuts down.
The engine's, like, choked, and Sparky's on the phone with him because he's in the pit crew. Which, really, I don't understand why Pops
all of
isn't...
them aren't?
Yeah, but Sparky's in the pit crew. To be fair, they did have a lot of trouble even being allowed into the race, so maybe they were like, you get one mechanic.
Yeah.
So Sparky's on there going like, okay, yeah, so it looks like your engine's threatened from the diagnostics. I don't know how we fix this. And meanwhile, John Goodman's character's on the side. He's got the fifth chamber. He's gonna have to switch straight into fifth gear and just gun it. The resulting explosion will knock loose that and give her some life. Does Sparky know how to do that? Would Speed? No. Only I would know how to do that. And maybe Rex. Meanwhile, Speed's just like, what did Rex once tell me? Treat a car like you treat a woman. And he starts slapping it around a little bit.
No, it's like, you have to listen to her, and she'll tell you what she needs. So he's like communing with the machine spirit.
Yeah, he literally does He does Luke Skywalker use the Force level of just know you've got to clear the fifth engine. Like, it's insane.
He puts it into fifth, and not only does this fire the engine back up, it also puts it into turbo mode
or some such nonsense.
Yeah, because I think it immediately goes into fifth gear,
and he just proceeds to win the race.
So yeah, with the car beefed up to hyper mode, Speed is able to go to Plaid and wins the Grand Prix in a series of shots and more panning flashbacks so intense that when he stops at the finish line, the tires on the car are literally melting.
Mm-hmm.
Speed is posed up, going to the hero's circle under the flashing lights of the cameras. The family comes up.
Sparky is so excited to drink milk because I think he's not aware you can just buy that at the store.
Well, it's like a tradition that the victor in the winner's circle gets a glass of ice cold milk.
Big dairy.
It's probably big dairy, yes. It's the Got Milk campaign. They need to get rid of all that government stored cheese in the underground caves.
This is where we get the double
well,
twist.
First, we need to have the kiss, which is the worst scene ever. Not for the kiss itself.
Oh my god!
But it's because, so, in the victor's circle, under the flashing lights of the cameras, just like he said at Buckingham Point, Speed takes Trixie.
The point gets more and more explicit. Just like, what are we doing up here?
Speed takes Trixie in his arms, bends her down, their lips are inches apart, and for the third time in this movie, we have to stop to have Spraddle and Chim Chim appear, and their bad doctor's costumes saying, "The following scene may be uncomfortable for those not inoculated against cooties."
And then they leave, and
they
then
thought they
the
were
scene
doing
plays
something,
out.
and instead they thought they were doing something.
And instead they just wasted 20 seconds of everybody's time.
This was not it. Never cook again.
Also, meanwhile, while all this is happening, Royalton is in the famous people box office, and they go, the second they saw the cheating device, everyone started getting away from him, but then once he loses, he's like, no! And he pushes over the ice sculpture and it shatters, and then presumably the police arrest him.
Because we get a series of headlines saying how he was arrested
for all time.
He was arrested, charged, convicted, and sentenced for 10 gajillion years or something.
Really, that should be an accurate, sentence. Just, you've been sentenced for all time.
Which is really funny, because Royalton, even though he's the villain of this movie, definitely is set up as if he's just a symptom of rampant corruption, not the cause of all of it.
Rampant corruption.
Yeah! It's so...
But it tightly wraps up the movie in a satisfying way.
It's... metatextually, it's so weird, because they all talk... Ever since the corruption thing comes up, it's talked about how you'll never change the nature of the corruption. You can only continue to act pure of heart yourself. It's perfectly fine to continue to participate uncritically in a corrupt system, as long as you aren't corrupt personally, accepting only incremental symbolic changes. Oh god, we can't talk about this, it's an election year. Moving on. The double triple fake out with Racer X.
Yeah, this is what we alluded to earlier. There's literally the scene at the end where all throughout the race they've been cutting to him and he's been saying direct quotes from Rex's flashbacks. And it's at the end here where the, leader of Car Interpol comes up to him and is like, don't you want to celebrate with your family, Rex? And then it cuts to, him having a flashback of dying in the car crash, going to, ninja school, then getting plastic surgery to be a completely different actor.
All to hide his identity so that he could work with Car Interpol to take down the corruption.
And he's just like, no, I don't want to hang out with my family. Do you see this hot chick that came with me to the party? We're going back to my room.
If it's a mistake for me to have done this, it's one I'll live with. Now I'm going to go bang this hot Bond chick.
Is that also a mistake you have to live with? Yes.
Only if I get her pregnant.
Racer X does not believe in abortion.
I get why they did that. That's the satisfying thing where it's oh, Rex is really alive after all. But they also let the main character be genre savvy enough to spot the obvious thing of you're obviously my brother. The issue I have with it is the literal instant Car Interpol comes to them and says, hey, we want you to help with the investigation. Any reason for Rex to not tell them who he is immediately gone, because now they're a target anyway for the exact same reason.
It's worse than that. The second his brother's recruited, they're attacked by ninjas.
Yeah. I need to keep my family safe by hiding my identity. Except they've gotten wrapped up in this anyway. So now it would just be really awkward to explain to them that I've changed.
Except that I've recruited Speed and not told him he needs to hide his identity. So my family's just also in danger. Also, insane to me, the age difference between their oldest son, their middle son, and their youngest son. Those are 10-year gaps in between them.
Hey, they were trying.
Look, I'm just saying, if I had Mom Racer, I would also have several children with her.
Pops and Mrs. Racer, because I don't know if we get her first name, but they got married young and they've been going for a long time.
And they happen to run out of condoms once every 10 years.
I buy them in bulk, and then you just forget one night, but you can't. You've already set up the candles, and you got the champagne. What are you going to do? Run to CVS?
You've already set up the camera.
What are you going to do? Run to CVS? No, we're just going to risk it. Oh, another kid?
No, you raced to CVS.
We send Speed to CVS, and we have to see who gets here first. Him with the condom run, or his next sibling.
I hate that.
And the problem is he misheard and he didn't go to CVS. He went to the zoo. And that's where Chim Chim came from.
Oh no! I do appreciate the movie.
We're writing
I do appreciate the movie not explaining why Jim Jim was there, because any explanation would have been stupid. It's better to just accept.
Yeah.
I like how we're writing the sequel this movie needs, the origin of Throttle and Jim Jim.
No, the sequel this movie needs, which is just the backstory of Pops and Mrs. Racer, and it's just a very steamy romance.
Yep.
With as many white cuts as humanly possible.
Enters white cut for every thrust.
Oh no. On that note, let's end this.
Yeah.
Please.
So, favorite character, favorite race?
Oh, I don't like that question.
I liked Racer X because he felt like he knew what movie he was in, even if it wasn't that movie, and that was just kind of funny. So I liked Racer X and or Rex. They act like they're different characters. They're not. And the second leg of the cross country pre was my favorite, I think, because that was when all the gadgets came out, and that was just fun. How about you, Jake?
Favorite character is probably Trixie. Again, it's like when you consider working within the source material, I like the way in which she was used, and also the child version of herself punched a kid, and that's always amusing. So
you heard it here first, folks. Violence against children will get 2 thumbs up from Jake.
It is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I like, feisty female character that's done in a way that's not obnoxious, so that's kind of gonna grab my attention the most. As for which of the car fights was my favorite, I don't know, man. I think I preferred Zoid's New Century, but the first leg of the cross country one was probably my favorite. That was the point where I was reminded, it's like, this is just Zoids without the animal themes and guns, isn't it?
Yeah. How about you, Matt?
Favorite character, I think I've got to go with Speed Racer's mom, and I've got 2 good reasons. And favorite car thing, I gotta go with the Fiji race, just because that was insane.
Highest body count?
And it was just like, they're summarizing the race too, so it's just them all in Hawaiian outfits in a very, oppressively Hawaiian setting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Jay.
The entire movie was a fever dream.
That it was.
I felt like you were on a roller coaster from start to finish.
In some cases, they actually were, I think.
And Jay, favorite character and favorite of the car fight adventures extraordinaire 5,000.
I don't think I have a favorite.
Fair.
All right. And thank you, everybody, once again for tuning into the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all your social medias where we are at Over Manga Cast.
You can also find us on YouTube where you can like, comment, and subscribe. Speedrun clicking the subscribe button for us. The episodes are up there on a 2-week delay, so if you need to get all of our episodes as fast as you can, I'm not doing the Speed Racer puns anymore. Go to overmangacast.com. It has a comment section as well. Give us movies to watch or something. I don't know.
And as always, we appreciate reviews in any and all form, and God do we need it, because I think I have brain damage from watching this movie.
Help pay Matt's psychotherapy bills.
We'd really appreciate some more live-action anime movie recommendations, because we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. And really no more evidence of that compared to the fact we just watched Speed Racer. Sam,
yes.
What are we watching for them next week, for us right now? Please, God, kill me.
It's Devilman, right?
No, Jacob, no it's not. Because we found Dragon Ball, The Magic Begins.
Wait,
whoa, we already did Dragon Ball Evolution. You said I didn't have to do this again.
This is the other one, Matt. This is the one from 1999.
No.
There's another one?
There's another one! And
No!
we'll see you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Help!
Please just end the suffering.
I think Jay's already dead.